Welcome back, everyone. It's here. And today I've got some r/BestOf for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. With this post here, I've been keeping an eye on it for a while, and it does seem to have reached at least some kind of ending. Don't know if it's the official ending, but it's at least concluded in a sense. If there are any other updates, I'll let you guys know. But anyways, this post was collected by Choice Evidence 1983, and their tagline is, "It dawned on me that he was a wizard." The original OP is "I love popcorn and candy," posted to r/self, February 17th, 2026. Yesterday, my brother told me he was in love with me. As an editor's note, adding prior post to the original title for more context. There is also a content warning for incest, victim blaming, stalking, harassment, obsessive behavior, and mentions of racism. The first post, the prequel to this, is my adopted brother flirting with me, February 17th, 2026. Hi everyone. I am so conflicted to know where to even begin with this. I was adopted when I was 3 years old from Russia, and honestly, I love my family so much. I have 2 older brothers and 1 sister, all of which my parents had biologically. My siblings and I have always been really close, but now we live opposite sides of the country due to college. The brother I was talking to in this message is the one I am arguably the most close with, since we are the closest in age, 19 and 20. Over the last year, I have noticed slight behavioral differences between how he used to act and how he acts now. He always treated me like a gross, annoying sister, and now he's a lot more shy around me. I can't tell if it's because we don't live together or what, but that's when I started to suspect something was different. Over Christmas break, he was always wanting to hold my hand or had his arm around my shoulder, and it made me feel a little suffocated. I thought this was all due to the fact that we're thousands of miles apart, but after this text exchange, I'm not sure. Is he being flirty or is he just having a hard time expressing himself? I am so unsure because if I bring up that I am uncomfortable to him, it would be so awkward if I was wrong. OP includes screenshots of the text messages. Here's the transcript. Brothers shared a TikTok link of, "Welcome back, friends. You had a long day at school. Halloween is next week." Brother, us after family service in 2012. OP, laughing crying emoji, laughing crying emoji. OP, stop, that video low-key made me sick. Brother, it made me realize how much I miss you. I can't wait to be with you again over the summer. OP, me too, pleading eyes emoji. By the way, I was thinking about submitting this to the agency, but wanted your opinion first. I think I'll get more professional ones done with them, but this one is temporary. OP shared a picture of her hair with a heart covering her face. They said to take it natural light, but I'm afraid my expression comes across stiff or something. Brother, no, you look absolutely beautiful. Wow. It makes me nervous, LOL. OP, thank you, but what do you mean nervous? Pleading eye emoji. Sorry, I meant like it's weird that you used to be my little sister and now you're a beautiful woman. It makes me nostalgic. Cry emoji. End of transcript. Relevant/top comments. Top commenter. Yeah, unfortunately you're going to have to be very direct with him. It will be easier in text. You said you're seeing me in a different light. Does this mean you're attracted to me? Don't add anything to it. If you tell him that's not okay before he admits it, you'll be telling him what to say. If he does admit attraction, shut it down. I'm so sorry you're feeling that way. You will always be my brother to me, and because of that, I am going to step back on communicating. You need time to move on from this crush, and I need time to recover from this as well. This is also where you would list other boundaries. An example, hugging, talking at family events, not coming over, no reaching out, etc. I am so sorry you're going through this. I love my brothers so much, I can't imagine. Commenter 1, especially the "you used to be my little sister" part. He's made it blatantly clear that he no longer sees her as his sister, but it's just barely ambiguous enough for him to try and lamely backtrack in case he doesn't get what he wants. I bet he would try for some weak excuse like, "I just meant that you're not little anymore." OP responds, Yeah, I mainly thought he meant that I was no longer little anymore, but I was unsure. Thanks for this clarity. Update. Is my adopted brother flirting with me? February 17th, 2026. The same day, hours later. Anyways, I have an important presentation later today, so here's a brief update. I got a lot of conflicting answers on if it was flirting or not, but I think the general consensus was yes. Regardless, I think these texts pretty much confirm something very weird is going on. I think I'm going to call my mom this evening and talk to her about it. I'm not so sure what she'll say. I'm very afraid this will make the family situation very different. As for people saying he could just be socially awkward, I don't think that's a good explanation, as he's always been very popular and outgoing, has had no issues getting girls to talk to him, and his texts have been different lately. He had a long-term girlfriend and they broke up last summer, so the only thing I can think is that he's still upset about that and pushing those feelings onto me. And finally, people who are making this sexual and or condoning this behavior, please don't. This disgusts me so much. I vomited up my breakfast this morning. I am so devastated that our relationship is taking a turn for this. He's my brother and will forever only be my brother. I do not care if we are not blood related. We are siblings. If anyone has any advice on what to say to him to maintain our relationship while being firm he is creepy, please let me know. Thank you. Screenshots of the newer text messages. Transcript of the text messages between OP and her brother. Brother, sorry, I meant like, it's weird that you used to be my little sister and now you're a beautiful woman. Makes me nostalgic. OP responds, don't worry, I'm still your little sister. Always will be. Smiley face. Brother, good morning. Hope your day goes well. Let me know how your bio presentation goes. You got this. Yeah, but my little sister isn't so little anymore. OP responds, you're still 5 inches taller than me, don't worry. You'll always be bigger. Sweating emoji. Also, we'll let you know. Redacted and I worked all weekend on it, and I still don't feel confident. Crying emoji. I also wanted to bring up something important with you. Lately, you've been acting a little different, more shy to me. But at Christmas, you were more physical. Is there anything I did on why you're acting differently? I just hope everything is okay between us. I've actually been meaning to talk to you about that. This is going to sound really weird, and you can tell me if it makes you uncomfortable, but I've just been seeing you in a different light lately. I don't know how to describe it. And I, of course, still love you, and you're my family. It's just different now that we're far away. I don't know. I just mean you're the one person I'm excited to talk to every day. If we don't text, I really miss you. I hope this doesn't get misconstrued. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Kind of, but not really. I also miss you since you're my brother. I miss everyone. It's hard being away from home. Oh, for fuck's sakes, this is coming out wrong. Can I call you around 9 tonight to clear it up? I fear in text it will sound bad. Brother's name, please, you're making me worried and a little uncomfortable. Can you please just tell me now? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Crying emoji. I really can't tell you now. Please, just wait until tonight. End of transcript. Top comment. Commenter 1. It sounds like he's trying to avoid being screenshotted and held accountable for what he wants to say, and that's why he wants to call instead of text. When you call, please make sure you're using a separate device to record the entire thing. It's very, very important for your own well-being and in case anyone else in the family has any doubts. Please make sure you record it for your own sake. OP responds, we already called. Unfortunately, people on this post noted some states made it illegal to record, and I live in one of those. Final update, and this is one of those final updates. Is my adopted brother flirting with me? February 18th, 2026, the next day. I believe this will be the final update in what's been going on between my brother and I. Unfortunately, despite me wanting to, I didn't record due to people commenting that it is illegal in some states, which I am unfortunately in. But then I was informed after we talked that it doesn't matter unless you're using it in legal settings. If anything, I think these texts prove his intentions. I will try to keep this as succinctly as possible, since it was quite a long call. Long story short, he said he was in love with me. He got really nervous at the start, took 20 minutes of beating around the bush, and then he told me. He said he was sorry he tried to keep it hidden and didn't want to lose our relationship. But he never felt like this about anyone. He seemed very sincere and vulnerable. I asked him for a couple of minutes of silence to try to think of the best things to say. I ended up saying something like, "I am glad you trusted me enough to confide this in me, but this has made me deeply uncomfortable. The only future with us in it is one as your sister. I love you as a brother, but if you can't handle that/respect me, then I will need to stop communicating with you." He started crying about how sorry he was for bringing this up. He would do better, just to please not shut him out. I have literally never seen him cry, besides when we were really young, so hearing it made me unsettled on what to do. I could tell how much he was struggling to come to terms with his emotions, but continuing to talk to him and hear him beg made me even more disgusted. I told him I needed to go and to please give me space. He has since flooded my phone with texts. I am considering blocking him for the time being and am being very conflicted/lost on how to bring this up with my family. Unfortunately, I don't even have the mental capacity to deal with this right now, as I have 2 exams next week and a 20-page paper due. He is very much struggling mentally, which I never knew until he said it last night and today, and I am going to message my parents to potentially do a mental health check. I'm also going to bring his behavior up to them this weekend. The only good thing is that he is on the other side of the country, so I can just focus on school right now. If worse comes to worse, I will cut him out of my life. But cutting the rest of the family off as well is non-negotiable. Thanks. OP once again has included screenshots of the text messages. Transcript of the text messages between OP and her brother. Look, I'm really sorry. I think I've been going through it lately. I think I got my feelings mixed up. I don't know. Please, I need you in my life. Clasping hands emoji. I just really care about you, and having you push away when you're already so far away would kill me. I know it's fucked what I said, and I'm sorry I put you in this situation. That wasn't right. Can we please just forget it happened and go back to things? I don't care if you tell mom, dad, redacted, or redacted. I just know I need you. I'll go to therapy like you suggested. I want to get better for you. Heart emoji. OP responds, I'm in class. Stop calling me. Are you okay? Sad face emoji. Please just let me process alone. Fuck, I'm sorry. It's so hard though. I can't even imagine what you're thinking. Crying emoji. I wish I never said anything. Crying emoji. I've ruined everything, haven't I? I'll be frank. I'm really annoyed you can't leave me alone and let me think things through instead of spam calling and texting. This is the last time I'm going to ask you before I'm going to block you. I'm very busy right now, and this is the last thing I need. Okay, I respect that. End of transcript. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. You need to let your parents know about this situation. If they don't side with you on this, then you should completely go no contact with them. OP responds, I honestly have no idea how this would play out with my family. Like, I seriously can see it going either way. They pay for my tuition, dorm, monthly expenses, etc. So going no contact with them is literally not an option until I graduate. Commenter 2. It's possible he's got a lot of shit going on, maybe also with girls. If you're a constant presence in his life while he's striking out with girls, maybe struggling with friendships, study, who knows? It may have caused him to either misinterpret his own feelings or to develop them. I'd assume that as he works through all of that, those feelings will fade. He probably needs therapy. OP responds. He's conventionally attractive, 6'3", good grades, athletic. He has no reason to be striking out with girls, and I know he's never had that problem, which is what makes this even more confusing for me. Commenter 3. Homeboy has been spending way too much time on the hub.
I'd put him in a very, very, very long timeout, if not just go no contact period. I would also absolutely tell your family, start with whoever you're the most comfortable with relationship-wise and ask for advice on how to proceed further. OP responds, everyone is just commenting that this is because he's horny / from porn. But is there a possibility it's just romantic rather than sexual? I feel like romantic stuff, our relationship could be salvaged, but sexual would change my outlook on him forever. Commenter 4. I think that this is worth considering and discussing with a therapist that has experience in this or similar areas. I have no doubt that they exist. Given your brother's age, it's possible that he's conflated the need for personal connection / intimacy or a closeness he feels for you with a romantic connection. Opie responds, I'm actually really hoping this is the answer. This made me at least a little hopeful for our relationship if he gets the help he needs. OP on her brother's age. He's 20, I'm 19, I was adopted when I was 3 and he was 4. Commenter 5. OP, if you're able to talk to a counselor on your own, then you can get a non-biased opinion on what you should do and who you should talk to in your family. I'd also just block him so you can get peace of mind. OP responds, yeah, I'm booking an appointment with the Student Services Resource Center. The thought of even saying this stuff out loud to another person makes me ill. I guess it is one thing to write it out, but saying it out loud is so nasty. OP on if her brother is feeling lonely. He's not lonely. He has plenty of friends, opportunities to talk to girls. He's conventionally attractive, 6'3", athletic. He honestly has no excuse. And thus ends the prequel posts, and now we're to the title post. Yesterday, my brother told me he was in love with me. February 18th, 2026. I posted this on another subreddit, but honestly, I just need to vent because I can't even tell my friends / feel so isolated since this situation is so gross. You can check my profile for more in-depth explanation if you're curious. I also don't think this breaks the relationship post as it's not romantic and we're obviously not dating. Anyways, I was adopted from Russia at 3 when my brother was 4. He is biologically my parents. We grew up together. He was always the one I was the closest with since we were closest in ages. My other brother and sister are both 5+ years older than me, so it was always him and I getting into trouble with each other, teasing each other, walking home from school, etc. We have had our differences. He was always annoying and pretentious about his grades, but I loved him. Last year, I started college, moved across the US while he just went to California for college. I was honestly so excited to start this new chapter in my life as I grew up in a smallish town in Oregon. During my first year, he started to text me more often and call all the time. I was honestly really glad because it was difficult to be away from home. This year, over winter break, is when I noticed him acting differently. He was overly touchy. He literally made me rest my head on his lap while we watched a movie, and when I sat up, he told me he was cold. I was extremely uncomfortable. He would hold my hand, casually put his arm around my shoulder, and just other physical contact I didn't want. Another thing about him is that he's extremely charismatic, funny, and popular. He's conventionally attractive, 6'3", athletic, and the reason I bring up these qualities is that he's not some lonely guy who has no friends and cannot talk to women. He was literally one of the most popular guys in our high school. This is what makes it even more confusing and gross on my end. I sent him a photo. He made a weird comment about my beauty making him nervous, and then I asked him why he was acting strange lately. He made me call him and confessed he was in love with me. Now he's saying it's due to his mental health, that he's scared he'll lose me, etc. I'm so unfathomably disgusted with him and just want to block him for the time being. The only thing that's making me not is the possibility he might harm himself. I know I need to tell my parents, but I'm also worried how they're going to process this. I have no idea if they will fully believe me because this situation is so unbelievably disgusting. Words cannot begin to describe the betrayal I feel right now. I am second-guessing every interaction I have had with him. When did these feelings begin? What did he hope to gain from this? I don't know, and I am so sick. Editor's note: the next post might help put the spotlight on OP's family background. Have you ever felt less than your biological siblings? February 19th, 2026, the next day. I was adopted when I was 3 from Russia, so I have essentially no memories of my life before. My parents did their best to help me feel like there is no difference between my siblings and I. My siblings are biologically my parents, so despite their best efforts, when we would go out to eat or to the pool, everyone just thought I was a family friend. My siblings have dark features and tan skin, and I was always the pale blonde. My dad even received racist remarks by older people from time to time, and it really hurt to see. Whenever we would go over to my extended family, my dad's side would treat me differently, speaking Arabic intentionally so I didn't understand. My cousins, not including me, with things, etc. It's difficult because I think my parents did their best and did an amazing job. I just feel like I have always been ostracized by my dad's family and society in general because I don't look like my family and siblings. I also want to point out that I know it's a privilege to be white in America, and I'm not complaining about that, but more so venting about the struggle of intercultural adoption. I've also never really thought that much about it before, but due to recent family issues, it has made me reflect more on my childhood. Small update, February 19th, 2026, the next day from the original title post. I had a counselor meeting this morning, and she told me I needed to call my parents. I think I'm going to after dinner tonight, despite receiving mixed messages on if I should or not. I'm not sure how much I'll want to share after this call, but depending on how it goes, I may update again later tonight. I have muted my brother for the time being. He only texted me once today, and I did not respond. I'm not sure how many people actually care, but should I just post it on my profile, or would another subreddit be more appropriate? Thank you. Edit. I also want to say how much I appreciate all the advice and support people have been giving me. It really means a lot, and I'm sorry if I didn't respond to some of the comments. There were so many, but I read them all. Thank you. Update. I called my parents. February 19th, 2026. The same day, later that night. I just got off the phone with my parents 30 minutes ago. My counselor told me to write down expressly all the things that I wanted to say, including my needs and my brother's needs. I was able to share my screen with FaceTime so I could pull up our recent texts and his concerning number of phone calls. He called me 30 times in 24 hours. I started off saying I was concerned about his mental health, how he was behaving unusually erratic and desperate. He's usually very chill, level-headed, so the switch in him was the most concerning thing to me. I told them when I started to notice he was acting differently to me, like over Christmas, being excessively touchy and making me do things that I normally wouldn't do. Nothing related to SA, just that one example of him wanting me to lay my head on his lap while we watched a movie, and him telling me to get back down when I came back from the bathroom. How if I was on the couch, he would put his arm around me or hold my hand, making me feel smothered and uncomfortable. I then started to show them screenshots, some from months prior, where I combed through our messages and realized some things went straight over my head. Some things when I thought he was being overly nice. It was flirty, and I didn't want to recognize it. Then I showed them the text that caused me to come to Reddit, where he called me beautiful and that I was nervous. All this time, both my parents took this very seriously, were nodding and telling me to continue. Anyways, I showed them the text exchange after my brother and I called, and my mom looked like she was sick. My dad has always been quite solemn, I don't know if that's the right word, but he looked seriously disturbed and almost angry. My mom started immediately apologizing, asking if I was okay, if I needed anything, etc. I told her I wanted my brother to get better, but right now I needed him to not contact me. I told her and my dad they needed to call him right after and check on him. I said I told them not to get him in trouble, but for his safety, which is true. My dad comes from a more conservative culture than my mom, and I like to wear a lot of Brandy Melville. Most of their stuff is just cropped tanks, nothing too crazy. So he asked me angrily why I couldn't dress more appropriately around the house, and maybe things would have been different. He's never liked the way I dressed, even though I dress like every other girl my age. So hearing him say that wasn't surprising, to be honest. It made me cry, not gonna lie, and I said I was sorry, even though I didn't think it was my fault. I don't know. It was a very stressful call, and you could tell my dad had a lot of misplaced anger, and my mom had no idea what to do. They said they would call me again tomorrow, after they talked to my brother discussing the next steps. Also, final thing, I guess some people think this is some weird fetish/kink thing. The fact someone would have to fabricate those texts and would take their time to write all this just for the sake of being weird wouldn't surprise me, considering the disgusting things some people have commented on my posts. This will probably be my final update, as I'm only posting to get help/advice and not condone this disgusting behavior. I know I can't really prove that I'm real, but at the end of the day, all I am here is for guidance. I've also received many comments from other women who have had similar situations happen to them within their families. So it feels good to be taken seriously, and this situation is unfortunately more common than I originally thought. My heart goes out to everyone who's been through this before. It's seriously the most stressed I've ever been. Thank you for the support, everyone. Update 1. February 20th, 2026, the next day. More screenshots of text messages. The brother sends a TikTok link to the mermaid tails the kids used to look so fake, but I thought it was so real. Brother, I remember you used to do this all the time thinking it worked. End of transcript. The TikTok is specifically about making mermaid potions to make yourself into a mermaid. So, last night I called my parents, and for a condensed version, more detailed on my profile of what happened, my parents were very shocked and unsure of what to do. My mom apologized and made sure I was okay. My dad kinda blamed it on me, saying I shouldn't have worn what I wear around the house. I don't know, it was a very confusing call. My parents called my brother, and I'm not sure exactly what happened or what was said, but they called me today saying he sounded perfectly normal, calm, and not a threat to me or himself. They wanted to hear his side of the story, and he denied the physical stuff over break, essentially said he didn't recall any of that. And when he sent those texts, he was really drunk. I told them it was a terrible excuse because even if I were drunk, I never would have sent those texts or made that call. I also pointed out if he was drunk in all those texts, he must have been drinking day and night, which obviously means something is emotionally wrong with him. My dad, I think, really wants to deny it. He kept saying it's a momentary lapse in my brother's judgment, and I think my mom doesn't know what to think. I honestly don't fault them for being shocked or confused because he's always been such a golden child. Now, I'm at a loss because I don't know if he's struggling mentally and doesn't want to admit it, or if he was using that as an excuse to confess everything to me and not face the consequences. I really want him to receive the help he needs if he is struggling, but I also don't want to engage with him. He sent me a TikTok about an hour ago like nothing happened, and I'm like, what the fuck? He seriously cannot accept my boundaries despite me asking repeatedly. I'm going to tell my parents once more that he needs to stop messaging me before I block him. I have been talking with some of my friends, and one offered to split rent with me over the summer. I'm not sure if my parents will want to pay, but I will find a job regardless. As of now, I do not feel safe returning home. I don't know if it's me being paranoid, but I'm afraid if he doesn't receive help, he could hurt me. I'm trying to be empathetic to him because there are probably issues he's facing I'm unaware of, but I feel like it shouldn't be my responsibility to fix them. What I really hope is my parents go down for the weekend and actually physically check up on him, but who knows if they will? I pray that they will take this seriously and my dad comes to his senses. I know if I told my sister, she would be in support of me. So I'm thinking of just telling her it behind my parents' back. Thanks. Editor's note, OP posted the same update 1 onto another subreddit. I'm adding relevant comments for more context. OP on her family's nationality/ethnic background. My dad is Jordanian and my mom is white American. We don't speak Arabic in the house. It is just at extended family functions my dad's side of the family speaks it around me, so I don't understand things. Also, my siblings have always called themselves Wasians. Even though I guess the more stereotypical idea is East Asian plus white, I don't know if that's the right term, but I call them Wasian since they call themselves Wasian. OP responds to multiple downvoted comments regarding her adoption, languages, and family. Hey, so let me clarify some things. First of all, my extended family I see at most once every 2 months when I live at home. So it's not a shock that I didn't learn it. They never made an effort to teach it to me, and would also speak English around me if my mother was there. We do not speak Arabic in my home since my mom is white. When I made my post talking about feeling ostracized, it was at family events and holidays. My cousins all spoke Arabic, and when we would go off together as kids, they would speak Arabic almost exclusively with my siblings, same as my uncles/aunts. And the reason why my siblings can speak Arabic is because my dad sent my siblings and I to language immersion school over the summer. If you've read some of my comments, you know I can speak Russian. My parents thought it best I learn Russian and not Arabic to keep connected to my culture. So while my siblings learned Arabic, I learned Russian. You can still think this is fake, but I thought I would explain since you made a bunch of assumptions. It's funny how everyone thinks they know my whole life story based off of a few Reddit posts, lol. And final thing, I don't think this has anything to do with my dad's race. Both him and my mom are conservative, so race is irrelevant, and I'm saddened to see this has become a breeding ground for racism/xenophobia. My mom's family literally attends Catholic Mass in Latin and cover their hair, a lot more conservative than dad's. To a different commenter, they wanted me to embrace my culture, which I'm actually grateful for. You are not my parents, so what you think would make sense has literally no effect on what they did. My extended family all speaks English fluently. It was purposeful when I was the only one in them that didn't understand Arabic. And finally, that's fine, you may call my siblings something different. They just say Wasian for simplicity's sake instead of explaining their whole ethnic background to someone. And since none of what I say resonates with you because it is not how you specifically think things should have been done within my family, please just leave me alone. Thank you. Has OP's brother done the same thing to her sister? OP. No, she said he's never done anything with her. I think fundamentally he justified this in his mind because he doesn't see me as a sister. I think my parents were worried this would get out of our immediate family and they would be embarrassed. Update 2. Brother said he was going to come see me for spring break, February 23rd, 2026. 3 days later. Hi guys, this will probably be my final update for a while since I hope to get this all resolved today. Anyways, I decided to block my brother Friday night. I sent him this text. It seems like you can't respect my boundaries. For your healing and mine, I have decided to block you for the time being. I do not want this to be permanent. But I need to focus on school, and you are making it extremely difficult at the present. I wish you the best, and hope you get help. He never got a chance to respond on iMessage. Saturday night, I was with my friends, and I kept getting calls on Instagram. I didn't even realize until I got back to my dorm since my phone was on Do Not Disturb. It was my brother, and it slipped my mind that I needed to block him on other platforms as well. I opened his profile to block when he called me again. I accidentally answered, but then thought maybe this was time to say what I needed to say, so he really knew to leave me alone, because apparently my other warnings were not enough. The moment I answered, he let out a flood of, "Oh my god, I'm so happy you answered! I needed to know you were okay," etc., etc. I told him I'm gonna block him on here too. I needed him to get mental health help, of which, according to mom and dad, he was currently saying he didn't need. He told me he didn't want to lose me. He didn't want me to feel uncomfortable, that he couldn't concentrate if he knew I was mad. I told him I wasn't mad, just wanted him to get better. He asked me if he could fly out for his spring break, which was in 3 weeks. He also had a Hawaii trip planned with his friends, which is weird he would drop so suddenly. I told him no, I needed months of space. He should go with his friends and get his mind on other things. He then said if he came to the city I live in, he wouldn't bother me. He just wants to be closer to me and do his own thing. I told him no, firmly, again, that I had to leave and to please leave me alone and not bother me until I make contact again. I then hung up before he could say anything else and blocked him on all of my social medias. He is clearly unwell, but I'm also getting scared how he keeps pushing me when it's so obvious I don't want anything to do with him right now. I'm going to sort this all out and tell my counselor this afternoon, but that is it. I might stop updating period because I feel like what needs to be said has already been said. Thank you so much for all your help so far, and have a nice day. Also, one more thing, I did tell my sister, she believed me, I showed her receipts and told me she supports me in whatever I feel like I need to do to keep myself safe. I asked her if our brother had ever been weird with her. She said no, and said he probably always thought I was like an annoying addition to our family, not really a sister. Whatever that means. But at least she supported me. She has a baby and a full-time job, as well as lives out of state from my family and I. So not so sure how much help she can be. I appreciate the mental support though. Relevant comments. Can OP go somewhere else for spring break so she won't have to see her brother? OP responds, I have school during his spring break, so I would be in class. Commenter 1. This whole thing is terrifying. Like, I'm genuinely worried that he'll go to your city and harass you or even hurt you. Can you go to the police and file some sort of restraining order? OP responds, yeah, I just don't know if I would be overreacting or not. It's really tough to gauge if he was being serious. I know if I did that, my parents would be pissed. Commenter 2. You are currently severely underreacting. You've told him you do not want him existing near you, and he's trying to come to your city. He'll find and harass you, and you need to get that restraining order in place before he can try anything. He is unwell, and the head and lap thing combined with this pressure and insistence is making me incredibly worried that his unwellness may cause him to attempt to kiss or possibly even assault you if he comes to your town out of his twisted love. OP responds, I will seriously consider this perspective. Thank you. New updates. Would I be the asshole if I refused to meet my mom and brother after they flew across the country to see me? March 6th, 2026. A week and a half later. Long story short, I have a lot more posts about this on my profile for the full story. I, 19 female, was adopted at 3, my brother, 20 male, was 4, who was my parents. And I have 2 other siblings that are also my parents' biological children. We grew up to be very close, and I always was so grateful for our relationship. Things changed around a year ago. He's been overly touchy over Christmas, acted mellower around me, and sent me questioning texts calling me beautiful and being flirty. We go to different colleges on the opposite sides of the country, so some of this I chalked up to just him missing me. A few weeks ago, he confessed he developed romantic feelings for me, which has snowballed into this horrible situation for my entire family. I told him I felt revolted by his confession and called my parents as I was concerned for his mental health. Everyone was shocked and confused, my parents were angry, and my brother lied and said his mental health was fine when they called after, which makes me so pissed off. Oh my god. Last week, my brother told me he wanted to come to my city during his spring break despite having already booked a week-long vacation with his friends in Hawaii, and I knew he was looking forward to since he's been talking about this trip for months now. Obviously, that freaked me out since he wasn't respecting my boundaries and I was genuinely concerned if I needed to tell the police. I called my parents and they said they would handle it. Imagine my surprise. Their way of handling it was my mom flying out at the same time as my brother. She said she would keep him in check and that it would be healing to have an intermediary resolve our issues. I told her I had no interest in meeting up with him right now as I felt he was escalating and it would make me incredibly nervous. It's so strange because all the comments I've been receiving have reiterated the same thing, that my brother is dangerous right now. He shouldn't be anywhere near me, and I should even consider no contact. Yet after my parents fully absorbed this, they're calm and don't even seem to notice how he might be dangerous. It's like they can't fathom their perfect son might not be so perfect, and they want to maintain an illusion. I feel like my mom is trying to be the white knight in shining armor and thinks their trip will fix this entire situation and we can just move past it. Every time I voice my worries, they're treating me like I'm over-dramatizing this situation. Would she actually even keep me safe is the question, and my instincts are telling me, no. Her words have been eating at me though. I feel as if though I'm crazy for feeling the things that I'm feeling. I feel as if I can't even trust myself anymore. I also want to believe that my brother would never hurt me, but tell me a year ago that he confessed he was in love with me, I would have never believed it either. It's so terribly difficult for me to determine. If I say no to meeting up with them, I'm so afraid they're going to cut me off financially. They pay for all of my expenses essentially. I would be more than happy to find a job while in college and take out loans if need be, as I truly just want to be safe. I guess what hurts more would be potentially excommunicated with my entire family. My parents have both handled this terribly, but I still deeply love them, and I don't want to lose them forever. I just don't know if this is the risk I want to take. Would I be the asshole if I said no, despite my mom's assurances that I will be safe? Update. My brother is coming for spring break, and here's my plan. March 11th, 2026, 5 days later. Editor's note, removed a part of this update as it is a rehash of the previous post. Hi guys, sorry I've been busy with school these past few days. I guess this will be my last update until my brother and mother come, unless something important happens. I know I've said it before, but things keep happening, lol. I reported my mother and brother to the campus security department, of which they were flagged. I showed them as much evidence as I could, mainly my phone logs and hundreds of messages from my brother. It's kinda a difficult situation since my brother and mother didn't directly threaten me, but they did say during the week they would assign someone to walk me to and from classes and other campus buildings. However, I contacted my counselor and we discussed the best plan of action for what I felt was most appropriate. I listened to everyone's suggestions and decided it would be best to go out of town during that week. I have already contacted my professors, and they have agreed to give me extenuating circumstances, and I have friends in all my classes who can take notes for me. My best friend is a godsend because she also agreed to take this week off, and we are driving to her family's house a few hours away for the week. I am literally so grateful I could cry. It feels like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. She has 2 brothers who live at home still, so I also feel safe knowing that if God forbid my brother and mother found me. I have muted all communications from my family besides my sister and older brother. Funnily enough, my brother texted me yesterday. I check his text every day in case they actually get threatening. And he sent, "Answer your fucking phone, at least for mom. She's getting worried." I also turned off location sharing services. I'm actually so fatigued, I feel like I'm relaying stuff that doesn't matter that much anymore, but this is just for the curious souls and also a way for me to vent. Have a good early morning. Editor's note adding a tangential post that is possibly linked to the situation with OP's parents and brother. Is there a way to turn off location on iPhone without notifying the other party? March 13th, 2026, 2 days later. Title, and I mean by this, when you turn off location, it tells the other person you turned it off. How do I do that without informing that person? March 21st, 2026, 8 days later. I am officially cut off. And it is accompanied by the picture of "But I am free," which, for those of you who don't know, is the photo of someone who is standing in front of a sunset with chains around their wrists being broken. LOL, sorry for using a meme, I'm just using it to cope, really. My parents canceled my credit card, my phone service, and essentially everything else they provided for me. It's a good day because now I have no obligations to them anymore. Maybe I'll write later about everything that happened because it is a lot, but I am free, everyone. Thank you all for your advice. It means a lot. I will be keeping an eye on this post, and once this is concluded fully, if this isn't the conclusion, I'll package it all in one video and upload it on its own, because there is still one more post after this one. I didn't realize this one would be as long as it is. I am definitely wishing the best for OP because this entire circumstance is just fucking horrendous. I don't really have much to add to this one because it is just incredibly disturbing, and the fact that they would rather side with the incestuous brother over the daughter who is very clearly feeling threatened and unsafe is just disgusting. I really hope OP's family lives with shame for the rest of their lives for this behavior. The question here now is them canceling the credit cards and all of their assistance them disowning her, or is this an attempt to break her and force her to have contact with them? I have no idea. But in any case, I just hope that OP is able to begin building a future where they feel safe and secure and don't have to deal with the bullshit of their family. Or ex-family? God damn. Hey everyone, before we get into this one is an extremely heavy post. It contains mentions of suicide, depersonalization and derealization, psychological distress, trauma, self-harm mentioned, and other mentions of mental disorders as well as alcohol abuse. However, it does have a happy ending. This was actually a post that I'm surprisingly very familiar with. I stumbled upon it in my senior year of high school, and it's interesting to see how it actually ended up all these years later, as it does include an 8-year update. This post was collected by Fnuckle. The original OP is Apple Breadsticks posted an r/glitch in the Matrix, originally posted December 4th, 2017, titled, "This is not my dimension, and I'm afraid I'm asleep." First of all, I have no idea how Reddit works. I'm only writing this here because this is the only decent platform where my friends and family aren't registered or have the opportunity to track me down. I'll also be posting this in several different subreddits. Hope I'm not misusing the word, since I'm at a loss and I'm looking for any kind of help or reassurance I can possibly get. Let's get to it. Something is off. I feel utterly and completely disconnected from my surroundings and my body and mind. I feel as if I'm merely a passenger in someone else's life. It's like an endless dream. I wake up in the morning with the exact same feeling in my body as when I went to sleep, aka I don't ever wake up and feel new and fresh or even tired. I simply open my eyes and go. This has caused my life to turn into a gray haze, and I can't seem to escape. I've had several encounters where I've accidentally looked twice at a piece of furniture or the like, and something is suddenly off. It just looks wrong. Sometimes the edges of random objects turn fussy or blurry, and I can blink and rub my eyes all I want, but it doesn't go away. Whenever anyone interacts with me, it feels like my body goes on autopilot and I don't have a say in what I do or say, and it's driving me insane. It's like I'm sharing my body with someone else. Before anyone asks, I have worked with several psychiatrists, therapists, and doctors since I was very young. I have dealt with depression in the past, but I've recovered. I haven't ever been diagnosed with any kind of dissociative disorder or the like, and none of the professionals I've spoken to seem to know what's wrong with me. Everything is faded and dull. Colors aren't as bright or strong, any kind of noise sounds far away, and it's getting harder for me to even feel my clothing touching my skin. And it's getting worse. Am I dead? Am I dreaming? Has my life become like one of those experiences where I get knocked out and I'm laying on the pavement somewhere? In reality, I'm living an entire life inside my head. Please help. The only solution to this seems to be suicide, but I don't want to die. I want to live, but I want it to be real. Please help. Relevant comments. Editor's note. Other comments from OP that were too long / not worth putting in here reveals that she is 16. Went to therapy due to depression from trauma, and that she doesn't actually want to kill herself, as her life outside of this issue is satisfactory. Commenter. You're not dreaming, and I know it's kind of dick to say this, but there is a good chance you're having a psychological episode of some sort. You should talk to a medical professional about these symptoms. OP responds. This episode has been going on since as long as I can remember then. As I mentioned in my post, I've spoken to several medical professionals during my life, and you're not being a dick at all. I really appreciate the input. Commenter. I do want to understand you and don't mean to be a jerk. If you've had this episode as long as you remember, how do you know there is something different than it's supposed to be? I can imagine how scary this is for you. I can have a slight touch of this feeling after / in a period of insomnia. So I'm wondering, did you have a test about sleeping? Some people wake themselves a lot at night. It's not always waking up completely, so it can be hard to know if that's happening to you. I hope you find a solution. OP responds. I have a very vague memory of things not being like this. I believe it must have been when I was very young, maybe around the age of 3 or 5 or something. When I describe how I feel to others, they can't relate in the slightest. And besides that, I just know. I don't know how to explain it, but I just know. I had severe sleep issues when I was younger, and I didn't really have a normal sleep pattern until I was around 14. Therefore, I regularly check up on my sleeping patterns and stuff with my doctor, so I don't think that's the root of the issue. Thank you. Commenter. This sounds exactly like dissociative disorder to me. Maybe you should go back to those psychiatrists / therapists and drop that phrase and see if they think that's a possibility. OP responds, I've been in therapy for 9+ years now with different doctors, and I almost held an entire PowerPoint presentation about different kinds of dissociative disorders for some of them, but none of them wanted to diagnose me because some of my symptoms just didn't add up. Commenter. None of them wanted to diagnose me because some of my symptoms just didn't add up. That doesn't mean that it isn't true. It just means that your doctors aren't willing to stick their necks out and commit to a diagnosis. Please find some docs that are actually willing to help you. If you truly are suffering with dissociative disorder, something needs to be done, and the sooner, the better. OP responds, I think you're right. Since the mental health care in my country is free, the system is extremely slow, and A lot of stuff gets swept under the rug because of how understaffed the entire system is, so I kind of gave up, but maybe I should give it another try. Commenter. Yes, I would say that this sounds like some kind of variation of a derealization/depersonalization syndrome. In many ways, it is classic of that. I would suggest not ruling this out at all, and it is always possible that the particular psychiatrists you've spoken to just weren't on the ball enough when digging into it. I would go again to the mental health professionals with this particular aspect in mind, and preferably try to see a psychiatrist who specializes in that area. It might also be worth your while, and if your insurance can cover it, to order a full and detailed physical to see if anything comes up. Psychiatric and physical symptoms can often interact in sometimes unexpected ways. The feeling that you don't belong here and aren't quite real, etc., can be triggered by any kind of traumatic episode, but again, not necessarily. You should explore all these options with the right mental health professional. Don't assume you've already done that or explored all the options. That is difficult to do, frankly, and the mind is subtle and hard to treat. Try to find a professional you can work with, and where you get a feeling it's actually going somewhere. Press the case a bit harder if someone says to you they can't figure out what's wrong, and as I say, aim for specialists, even within psychiatry, for these kinds of situations and syndromes. Opie responds, "Thank you for commenting this. It actually motivated me to schedule an appointment with my doctor." First update. Attached to original/first post. Update/edit. Thank you all so much for all of the positive responses I've gotten. As some of you may have figured out, I was completely freaked out when I wrote this, and in a very bad state of mind. I found great comfort in a lot of your comments. At this point, I had completely given up on the mental health care system, since I've been told for so long that nothing was wrong with me. So having so many people reassuring me that this is 100% a mental thing, and that my doctors have seemed to neglected me all this time is such a weight off my shoulders. Thank you all so much for not taking this post as some sort of joke or the like. I've made an appointment with a new doctor who sounded very interested in getting me some proper help from people who specifies in disassociation/derealization/depersonalization. Thank you all. Merry Christmas. Second update. Posted September 25th, 2020. 2 years and 10 months after the original post. I believe this subreddit may have saved my life. Hi, I'm not sure if this type of post is allowed on the subreddit, but I'm deleting my account and I figured I'd revisit the community that brought me to the subreddit in the first place and leave a thanks. 2 years ago, I made a post to this sub in complete distress, 100% convinced that I was either dreaming, in a coma, dead, or somehow misplaced in the wrong dimension. After various failed attempts at reaching out for professional help, I was in a panicked frenzy, thinking that I'd have to kill myself Inception style or just had to accept that I'd never know what my real life was like, aka a fuck-ass situation with no possible positive outcome. Besides the few people who accused me of having the sub confused with r/nosleep, a popular horror story subreddit, and the ones who had a laugh about telling me that I was right, and there was no way out and my life was a simulation. Thanks, you nonce. I was floored by how many supportive and comforting responses I received. I had heard the terms disassociation and derealization and depersonalization before, but never really understood what they meant. A short time after posting, I contacted my doctor with these specific terms, and instead of writing it off as hormone-driven teenage female hysteria, as so many others had done, she referred me to a psychiatrist who knew his shit and was able to give me the care I needed. About a month ago, him and I agreed that I now have the ability to handle things on my own, and we ended the procedure. And honestly, I can't recall any other time of my life where my mind has felt this peaceful. Although I still get triggered by things sometimes that can freak me out, which is the reason I stopped visiting this forum despite my interest, I no longer have any doubt about mine or others' existence, and I don't self-harm or have suicidal thoughts. Creating a user and making the post here led me to breaking the bad coping mechanisms and terrible habits I've settled for since I was very young, and therefore I owe the very kind people of this sub a huge gift basket with bread and cheese and wine, and a big ol' fancy bow. Thank you for saving my life. Edit. Thank you guys so much for the positive feedback and the awards. I've never gotten that many before. It's been really overwhelming. I've barely responded to anyone, but I read every single comment and I appreciate you all to the moon and back. Per popular request, I've decided to leave my account up with the last post intact, as some have found them inspiring and comforting, and I can only say that I'm so happy that my experience is able to bring any sort of positivity to you guys. I don't know what else to say besides thank you and goodbye. Heart emoji. Last update. Posted November 24th, 2025, 8 years after the original post. Title, To Whom It May Concern. Hi Reddit! It's been 8 years since I made a post to r/glitch in the matrix, and 5 years since I posted an update. I was 16 back then, and I am now 24. A lot has happened, and I randomly found the login info to this account in my high school journal and logged in to find tons of messages. So, I wanted to answer the most commonly asked questions and provide info to anyone who might stumble upon this account. Before that, I'm a broken record, truly, but I can't thank the people of that subreddit enough. I see many people post their various stories and everyone is in on it, theorizing that the things posted could mean this or that, which is what the forum is for. I understand that, and therefore I'm so grateful that most of the commenters stepped out of that headspace to encourage me to seek help. I genuinely believe I would have hurt myself that night if not for the kindness I was shown. Thank you. So, number 1, I have a podcast YouTube channel /wherever where I read scary Reddit stories. Can I use yours? No? Okay, fine, yes, but on the one condition that you make it abundantly clear that this is not a ghost story or a glitch in any matrix, but a case of a young person without a support system having a terrible mental health crisis. If my story is to be shared as entertainment, all I ask is that it be educational, to do my past self some justice, as a scary Reddit story was what set my mental breakdown off in the first place. Also, if you have taken my silence as it's probably fine, and included my post in your content, please send me a link. You don't have to take it down, I'm just nosy. Common question 2. What was actually going on? It took a few more years of bouncing between different psychiatrists and other forms of treatment providers before I finally, at age 21, was diagnosed with anxiety and borderline personality disorder. I know, I was shocked as well. I had this picture of BPD in my head that looked vastly different from what it actually is, mostly due to portrayal in media and stigma. So it never even crossed my mind. I had no idea of how different it can look from person to person. My BPD caused me to have a variety of symptoms, including severe depersonalization, derealization and disassociation, hallucinations, depressive and manic episodes, obsessive-compulsive symptoms, and a bunch of other shit that isn't cute. My state of mind when I wrote my original post was a result of all of these symptoms going untreated, of trying to manage living on my own at 16, of being in an abusive relationship with an older guy, of having alcohol abuse issues, that I had no idea were alcohol abuse issues, granted, yay for Scandinavian culture, of being sleep deprived and being severely malnourished. As people with anorexia often tend to do, I conveniently left out that I was anorexic and had not eaten in days in my original post. Looking back at it now, it's no fucking wonder I thought something was off, lol. If I could give my teenage self a hug, I would. Also, with the gift of years of therapy, hindsight, and reflection, I believe my dissociative state followed me getting blackout drunk when I was 12 years old and having a severe panic attack. Unfortunately, I was surrounded by other 12-year-olds who locked me in a room by myself to thrash it out because they didn't know what else to do. I remember a conversation I had with one of them about a week later where I said, I just feel like I never sobered up fully. So there you have it. 3. Did you ever fully recover from the depersonalization and derealization? Unfortunately, no. Not yet, at least. It has gotten a lot better, and the symptoms that do remain don't weigh heavy on me at all. I still feel fuzzy, but I enjoy my life even though I know that I could enjoy it more if I didn't have my condition. It took me a very long time to make peace with it, but I came to accept it as an either I kill myself or I take what I can get, And, well, I'm still here. And I'm genuinely glad to be. I'm forgetful, I get easily confused. I'm forgetful, but I'm not paranoid or scared or feeling like I'm completely detached from my body anymore. If I sit down and concentrate really hard on grounding exercises, the fuzz goes away. It doesn't last, but I know I'm still capable of not feeling it. I'm counting on waking up one day, clear as daylight, and knowing that it's happened to others and that feeling is within my reach has kept me going. 4. Have you tried LSD, shrooms, etc.? Girl, no, and neither will I. There are a few prescription drugs that have made me feel close to normal, but I won't disclose which ones as I was abusing them and not taking them as instructed. I love smoking weed, but it doesn't help, and I don't do it much. Alcohol makes it so much worse. I'm on mood-stabilizing medication, and it helps with my anxiety as well, and that's enough for me. My entire family consists of addicts, and I saw how I drank in high school and middle school. Substances are a slippery slide for me, and I stay away as much as I can. As a quick Oz note, I will say that psilocybin research is extremely interesting if you have the time to read the papers on it. It's definitely a emerging field of therapy and has a lot of potential, but it still needs a lot of research. From what I've read when it comes to BPD, it can sometimes help, or it can actually cause a higher risk of adverse psychological responses. Same can somewhat go for LSD, but that is still very much an emerging field. It certainly doesn't help that those two have reputations of being party drugs and kind of end up being overlooked or going the wayside. So I 100% don't blame OP for having the reaction they did, especially with their history. Anyways, question 5. How are you? Dude, good. I reached a level of acceptance and peace I would have never dreamed of when I made my original post. I love my life, my friends, my family, the degree I'm doing, my medicine, my hobbies. I love music, and books, and food, and my dog. There are so many things that I enjoy that are worth staying alive for, and I'm so happy I didn't manage to end my life. Living with BPD isn't easy, and likely never will be. But I manage. In comparison to what my life used to look like, however, this shit is a breeze. It takes work, and it continues to take work every single day. And I don't always make it out of bed or out of my door, and I stay away from Glitch in the Matrix-esque content at all costs, but I'm generally happy. Please don't kill yourself. It gets better. Your only guarantee that it won't ever get better is if you die before it does. Hang in there. Heart emoticon. So the update is new for me, and it actually hits interestingly, to say the least, for the end of it, especially with a few recent developments I've had within my family. Ironically, a couple weeks ago, I got BP and BPD mixed around, just due to the fact of bipolar having bipolar BP. It just sort of made my brain kind of mix the two up and jumble them. Well, about a week after having that mistake on the channel and pinning a comment about it, I actually had someone in my family who I'm very close with and who I love dearly receive a BPD diagnosis, and they've been working to navigate through that, and it's been definitely a difficult journey. Lots of realizations of, wow, that explains a lot, but also the understanding of, wow, that explains a lot. And why couldn't have this been explained sooner? If you're struggling right now with something similar, or even just in general, please know that tomorrow is always worth fighting for. That there are always people who will care about you, and who will help you get to tomorrow. It's never shameful to ask for help, to accept a helping hand to get yourself back on your feet. Because sometimes there are battles that we just can't handle alone. I know for me that after my battles, after I begrudgingly accepted the help of others and swallowed my pride and later found myself back on my feet, the only thing that I've wanted to do is to run straight ahead and to be able to help those who help me and provide that helping hand where I can. 10 toes down, hands up, you've got this. Tomorrow's worth fighting for. Well, right now I'm mostly on the up and up, still have a stuffy nose, but other than that, I'm actually feeling a lot better. Got my vocal range fully back. Minus the fact that I can't fucking breathe half the time. For better or worse, I'm kind of stubborn, so I pushed through. It's nice being able to drink citrusy stuff again without my throat trying to kill me. Speaking of citrusy stuff, by the way, you could try Gamer Subs. Use code KEYZ at checkout. Right now, I'm drinking red sickness. Okay, maybe my vocal range isn't fully back yet, but I'm drinking red sickness. It's pretty good. It's pear and blueberry. Very much enjoy it. Use code KEYZ at checkout, please. Thank you.